Some people are happy just running a marathon, but for me, I like to do a bit of running and a bit of cycling. So I started doing duathlons, and I was terrible at first. You need to build both at the same time. Did a few qualifiers and got a bit better at it, and back in 2005 I managed to qualify for the age group Great Britain team, and did my first race for Great Britain in Spain in a place called Alcobendas. It was a 10k run, 40k bike, then a 5k run, and I managed to come, I think it was 12th in Europe. I was asked if I'd like to become the team manager for British Triathlon. Last year I took a team out to Romania of about 600 people for the European Championship. And this year, the week before, it was March the 5th, the week before everybody locked down, the European Championships were in Spain. We took about 500 or 600 people out, including Alistair Brownlee. He raced in the team. We did very, very well. And multisport is very big in Britain. A lot of people are doing it. And it's just something a lot of runners should possibly look at if they fancy having a go and get on a bike. And it adds another dimension to it.
Hi, my name is Michelle Lewis. 10 years ago, you'd have been lucky to see me run to the end of the road. These days, running is second nature to me. From marathons to park runs to putting my own running group through their paces. You'll often see me in suitably loud attire, getting ready to pound the pavements. And here's a secret, if I can do it, you can too. There's so many wonderful and inspiring stories in the world of running. And not just running, some of my favourite tales involve those who take to their wheelchairs, bikes or simply their own trusty feet in an attempt to get fitter, faster or just have some fun. In this podcast, I'm going to be in conversation with some of the most inspiring and fascinating of these people. Remember, it's your time, your speed, your way. The only person you need to keep up with is yourself. Welcome to this week's episode of Running Tales, where I'm speaking to Kevin Aldridge, who I spoke to at the Daytona 5000, which was hosted by the Milton Keynes Redway Runners. And chatting to him, realised he's got his own running tale.
I used to be in the Foreign Office, so I served in lots of different places around the world, and everywhere I went they had something called the Hash House Harriers, which is a running club. So my first posting was Islamabad, turned up in Pakistan and went for regular running, and it was absolutely brilliant. We used to run once a week, so that allowed me to keep running for a number of years. Did that in Pakistan and in Africa, a number of other places. Always enjoyed running. Then, like many people, you get married, you have kids, and life sort of passes you by for a few years. You don't do a lot of running, and I think then in my late 40s, I decided I needed to get running again. Joined a gym, and I met Martin Lawrence from the Redway Runners now, and we started running together just from the gym, and a few people joined us. And then one day back in when was that? Must have been about 2008, 2009. We thought we'd like to set a running club up. We tried a couple of the running clubs, not really what we were looking for. We were not great runners, but we were not poor runners. So we spoke to a few friends and decided to set up Redway Runners. And beginning we thought we'd be lucky to get 12 people. We managed to talk the local gym into giving us some shirts, and off we went. This stage Martin and I were doing probably 10Ks, and we were doing half marathons together, which we were really enjoying. Then we were lucky because about the same time Parkrun started. Parkrun came to Milton Keynes, and very quickly the green shirts, Redway Runners, was seen by a lot of people, and the club just exploded, took off. And we decided right from the start we wanted a running club that was for everybody, all encompassing, different days of the week, evenings, mornings, whatever. And we were very lucky because Milton Keynes is a wonderful place to run. Wonderful. People don't realise it. We can run miles and miles and miles and never cross a road. It is just wide redways, grass. It's a fantastic place. Also helped. So personally, I started running with Martin. Then I discovered something called multisport back in about, it must have been about 2010. I quite fancied having a go at duathlons, which is running and biking. Always been a bit of a runner, but I used to cycle quite a lot and have done over the years, and thought, let's give this a try. So I started doing duathlons again. Milton Keynes, great area, lots of duathlons around this area. Silverstone was my first around the racing circuit. Did a few, and then realised that there was an opportunity to represent Great Britain in triathlons and duathlons. Some people are happy just running a marathon, but for me, I like to do a bit of running and a bit of cycling. So I started doing duathlons, and I was terrible at first. You need to build both at the same time, so I found myself doing different training for running. And then did a few qualifiers and got a bit better at it, and back in 2005 I managed to qualify for the age group Great Britain team.
Wow.
And did my first race for Great Britain in Spain in a place called Alcobendas. It was a 10k run, 40k bike, then a 5k run, and I managed to come, I think it was 12th in Europe basically, which was a real surprise. It was an amazing day. It was April, but it was hailstones, it was like -2. It was just a great day, and I really got the bug. That got me the bug. I then subsequently qualified, I think now I've done 5 or 6 European Championships, 4 or 5 World Championships, and done a series of events over the last 5-6 years, culminating last year in a very long race, which was a 10k run, then a 150k bike, then a 30k run at the end in Switzerland, which didn't go as I'd like because my bike broke on me, but it was still a challenge to train for that. So yeah, I think multisport has a part to play. A lot of runners enjoy trying the multisport. A lot of them don't get hooked, some of them do. I did, and it does add another dimension to your exercise. Again, 2 years ago I also got very lucky. I was asked if I'd like to become a team manager for British Triathlon. Last year I took a team out to Romania of about 600 people for the European Championships.
Wow.
And this year, the week before, March the 5th, the week before every lockdown, the European Championships were in Spain. We took about 500 or 600 people out, including Alistair Brownlee. He raced in the team. We did very, very well, and multisport is very big in Britain. A lot of people are doing it, and it's just something a lot of runners should possibly look at if they fancy having a go and get on a bike, and it adds another dimension to it. So that's been a bit of my journey. I've also started doing marathons, which is like, I don't know why, I just started doing marathons in the last couple of years and did one this week.
What ones have you done?
I've done Milton Keynes Marathon last year, then I did another one with Enigma Running last year, and then this week I did the Milton Keynes Reimagined Marathon, and I just find them a challenge. I never fancied them when I was much younger, but as you get older, as you come to the later running years of your life, the challenges become different, and you slow down.
True.
And at the end of the day, I've really enjoyed doing them. I should do more, and it's a different challenge because you've got to get through the whole thing. You've got to try and keep the same pace, and it's just a very different challenge to running a 5k or a 10k or even a half marathon. So I'm enjoying that challenge. But I think messages to other runners is, reset every 10 years, reset your boundaries. I know people saying, oh, I'm not as quick now, I don't do this, I don't do that. When I got 60 early this year, so I've now reset a number of my boundaries. Be realistic in your challenges, look at what your body's telling you, and just go and enjoy it.
You're called Redway Runners, and we've spoken about multi-sport. Are you introducing cycling?
What's actually happened is, over the last 10 years, we've had quite a few people trying to set up what we call like a multi-sport section for Redway Runners, and it sort of worked, but it didn't. So we decided in the end not to formally introduce multisport into Redway Runners. But what's actually happened is we've had clusters of people who have got friendly with each other and do their own thing, and it's a different type of training, and they'll come to the club runs. They'll do the club runs for their running training, but then they'll go off and have a cycle together. So what's actually happened is it's very good because people have met through Redway Runners, realise they've got something in common. People like me try and cajole people into trying, duathlons, and when they do and enjoy it, suddenly there's a little cluster of people. Yeah. And this club's built on that. Martin is marvellous. He does most of the admin, but he's great at letting people just do what they want to do within the club, as long as they've got the training. They get the run lead course, and he trusts them and they trust him. And if somebody comes to Martin and says, I want to go and do a running, a little bit of a running session for people that want to do triathlons or duathlons, he lets them do it, and they do it, and people go enjoying it. And this club is all about clusters of people doing what they want at a time they want to do it, with not a lot of pressure, and then you build from there. Early morning, mid-morning, evening.
You spoke about English athletics earlier.
Yeah, love English athletics. We've got a very interesting story with English athletics. I'm not sure how much you know, but when Martin and I, when we set the club up, we approached them and said we'd like to become a registered and affiliated with England Athletics. Unfortunately, they said no, because they said there was plenty of clubs in Milton Keynes as it was. So we just let it. It didn't matter. We rolled on. After a couple of years, they suddenly realised we actually were worthy of having us, and we've now got an extremely good relationship with them. They've come many times. They're using our club for sure. they're using our club as a good practice discussion for other clubs. We personally, myself and Martin, a number of others, we've been interviewed. We're on their website. I think it's brilliant that they should be looking at clubs like ours to what makes it tick. It's, you know, when you're a runner, you've got plenty of choices. So many people are put off by the clubs that have got very fast people, and you know, everybody's under pressure to run for the club and the best, and you know, most people don't want that. And Redway Runners is a great example of a club that can meet everybody's needs, and I think that's what England Athletics appreciate with us.
So what's next for you? You're saying about the 10-year plan. You've turned 60. I'm dying to know what's your aim before 70?
Okay, that's a really good question. You know, unfortunately, the current situation has put a bit of a damper on this year, because this is my first year in the 60 to 64 age group, and I really had high hopes of being, you know, maybe top 5 in Europe or something, maybe medaling on one of the events, but obviously that's all been put off, because next year those young whippersnapper 60-year-olds will be coming in, you know, I'll be 61. My own plan is I'm going to try and stay motivated to you know, keep to the top international type level. It's quite hard to do that. At my age, you can't peak too early, if you know what I mean. You've got to train for a race and absolutely hit it on the day. So that's my first aim, is to try and stay fit, so that when a race does finally come along, and nobody quite knows when that is, you know, that I can actually maybe put 6 weeks of hard effort in and be ready for it. I am going to carry on doing duathlons. I love them. You know, we've recently had a guy called Maurice Young, unfortunately passed away. He was 84 and he was still winning medals for Great Britain in the 80 to 85 age group, 80 to 84 age group. And he was a motivation to all, and it was reassuring. I'm not saying I want to be doing it at 80, but you can carry on doing this. It's nice to stay fit. I've got lots of good friends and Redway Runners and there, so yeah, I want to keep getting involved. I'd like to win a medal somewhere in the future. But I think more longer distance. I said earlier, I think for me, I'm going to concentrate on maybe the sort of middle distance, 10k run, 60k bike, 10k run. But I think the motivation is very important, just to be able to keep wanting to do it.
I hope you enjoyed this week's Running Tales podcast. Please leave us a rating or review wherever you listen. It helps other people find us so they can listen too. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week for another Running Tale.